Okay, you asked me to show you how to solve this problem, and the difficulty is that we have this expression in the denominator that we need to rationalize. We need to get rid of this, but how do we get rid of that when this has this kind of denominator? Well, there's this idea that um, if you use the difference of squares, I'm just going to refer to this like another problem so that you can see this. But if you said uh, a plus b times a minus b, okay, when foiling, it's the difference of two squares. You get a times a is a squared, and then outer you get a times negative b is negative ab, and then inner is positive b times positive a is positive ab, and then last you get b times negative b is negative b squared. Okay, and what happens there is that you get this middle term right here, the AB term, with exact opposite signs here canceling out, and what you get as a result is a squared minus b squared, okay? That's the difference of two squares. The idea here is that you want to be able to cancel out these middle terms, okay? And you'll see why in a second. Well, essentially, and I can show you up here, just by highlighting here, we can square this and get a real integer number, and we can square this and get a real integer number as well. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply both sides by the conjugate, is what they call it, of this. And what does that look like? Well, it's the first term is exactly the same, negative 7, but instead of minus square root of 2 here, we're going to say plus square root of 2. You always change that second one's sign, okay? And we got to multiply top and bottom because this is a complicated form of 1, but it's just multiplying by 1. Okay? And so I'm going to erase what's here on the bottom, excuse me, and you'll see what we're going to do here in just a moment. Let me make a bigger thing here. You'll see what we're going to get on the bottom. So let's deal with the bottom first because that's what I wanted you to see. So what we're multiplying here then is negative 7 minus root 2 times negative 7 plus root 2. Okay? And when we do FOIL, we say first, that times that is positive 49. Outer, we get this times this, which is negative 7 root 2. And inner, right here, because it's negative times negative, we get positive 7 root 2. As you can see, those are exact opposites. Okay? And then last, we've got negative root 2 times positive root 2, and negative times positive is negative. And what we've got there is root 2 times root 2 is just 2. Okay? These are middle terms that are exact opposites and they cancel out. So what you're left with is just 49 minus 2, which is 47. You've gotten the denominator down to a single rational number, a whole number. Okay? So that's what you get when you multiply by the conjugate of it. Again, this term on the bottom, you take the exact opposite sign of the second term, and that'll cancel out. Now we need to multiply the top. We're not done there yet there. Okay? So let me erase this just to make room. You can always back up the video if you want to see what I did there one more time. And then what we need to do now is calculate the top here, and what we're multiplying is root 5 times all of this. Okay, so we say root 5 times negative 7 plus root 2. Okay, and when you multiply them together, you've got negative 7 times root 5 is negative 7 root 5, and root 5 times root 2 is plus root 10. Okay, and we can't add those together, so that's what we have on top. We've got negative 7 root 5 plus root 10 all over 47, and there's nothing that can cancel. There's no coefficients on both of these that can perfectly cancel that bottom number. So what we get is simply this as an answer. So the big idea there is that in order to rationalize this denominator, you need to multiply by the conjugate of it, which changes the sign of the second one. And then when you FOIL, you get these middle terms dropping out and you get just whole numbers. And in this case, we got 47 on the bottom. And then you got to multiply the top by the same thing and just distribute that to both parts. Okay, let me know if you have any questions on that.